Kongversation. Of course Wii U games are radioactive. That's why nobody buys them.
Oh, that ape raper. Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Chad McCanna.
And I'm Hyle Russell.
So, we have a special emptying our call sack episode for you guys.
I've been saving up.
Yeah, the call sack has turned a little azure these days, but yeah, we had basically a month's worth of Diddy Kong's Quest episodes. I almost said Diddy Kong Racing for some reason. And yeah, basically we were only taking calls pertaining to that game. Then we talked about Goldilocks. Then it was 2016. So we haven't had an opportunity.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners really appreciated us talking about Goldilocks for a week. Yeah, it was Christmas week. What do you want?
Honestly, I am probably prouder of that episode than a lot of the vast majority of the ones we've done.
No, it was a good episode. Yeah. I'm sorry we didn't mention any apes that week. Jesus Christ. You people with your demands.
Always with the apes. We're so primate centric in this fandom. I'm sick of it.
Oh, no.
Actually, Goldilocks is an ape, so we did, technically.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. Homo sapiens is a great ape.
The more you know. I feel like we're all like more connected now. Like we're all part of the same species.
Well, no, we're not, though. I just said Homo sapiens.
I meant as Homo sapiens. Now that I know that we're all just a bunch of filthy, degenerate apes.
Oh, you mean all of us? I thought you meant like us and the Kongs.
No.
We have taxonomy for a reason, my friend. So anyway, before we get to all of your calls, I think we have 12 of them that we're going to blast through, and probably a minority of them are from Memechi. We'll see. I know they are numerous. But before we do that, we want to get through some of our dude illigence for the year.
Yes, dude illigence. Another recording artist we lost way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
So support TK Vine on Patreon. We got some great new rewards this year, including stickers at the $1
for everyone.
tier.
For everyone.
For everyone. So
yeah.
you give us $1 a month, we give you stickers.
Yeah, we will not use a portion of that money to feed a starving orphan in Africa. We'll feed you your sticker-shaped hole.
What?
The sticker-shaped hole in your life. That came out very wrong.
Why do you have to make it so weird all the time, Chad?
Look, I'm just trying to find creative ways to say things, okay? It's the spice to conversation.
All right, well, if you want to join in on a future call sack
I'm going to fill your sticker hole, baby.
Oh, what? If you want to join in on this wonderful podcast, maybe a future call sack episode, maybe an episode next week, who knows? Call the DK Vine hotline at 1-281-410-KONG. That's how all these lovely people you hear tonight called in.
It's basically a voicemail. Don't worry, we don't pick up the thing. And
way to suck the romance out of it, Chad. It's basically a voicemail.
Well, no, I don't want people to feel intimidated and that prevent them from calling. And
we're so intimidating.
Well, I mean, folks, I want to hear from the people whose voices aren't usually otherwise heard, because oftentimes we get the most interesting and insightful comments and questions from those people, kind of the first time long times that aren't even necessarily active on the forum. So yeah, don't worry if you call and you kind of stumble over your words, hang up and call again. We'll kind of listen through them and play the best one, the one that puts you in the best light. So
it is crazy how such a small percentage of people call in compared to who actually listens to the show. You would think like our audience was just Memechi and Scrap 69 at a certain point, but
we can't rule out the idea that Memechi and Scraps are the only listeners. They just download it thousands of times
from different points around the world. Could be.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you are Scraps from Memechi, make sure you keep subscribing to us on iTunes. Also, give us a rating on iTunes. It helps somehow. Nobody's really explained to me how, but
it's like it's the one metric that that iTunes has that can elevate your show to the top of the charts, which then gets more like cold listeners, and if they like what they hear, then it's basically, it assists us in spreading the word. But you can also do that by if you like this show and you have gaming friends, let them know about it.
And Chad just explained to me how it all worked. Thank you. Also, follow DK Vine on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and YouTube. We're really focusing on YouTube content this year, so we're going to have a lot of stuff rolling out over the next 12 months on YouTube. A lot of video content, Twitch streaming, a lot of fun things ahead. We're really making use out of what we've generously been given through Patreon thus far, and putting it right back into the site. So.
A lot of that, by the way, I want to plug. I've already been doing weekly Twitch streams Sunday mornings at 10:30 Eastern U.S. time in the morning. I'm going through. Well, I will have just finished my Banjo-Kazooie run, and this Sunday I'll either be dipping back into Donkey Kong Country or Donkey Kong Country 2, both of which I've sort of streamed halfway. So yeah, check those out. 10:30 in the morning. Every now and then we have some people from Rare stop by. Chris Alcock has been a pretty common fixture in there, and sometimes the Rare limited account itself. It's a lot of fun, and the chat room is usually pretty active. So yeah, give us a look.
Sometimes Tim Stamper might even come by and from his castle, and he doesn't type because his fingernails are too long at this point. But you know.
Yes, and there's germs on the keyboard, Hyle. There's germs,
right?
And they all have googly eyes.
He's watching from 30 monitors. He's watching.
He's like the architect in the Matrix.
Vis-a-vis, ergo.
Yeah.
Let's get to the call sack, Chad. Let's get to it. All right.
Okay.
I want to hear what our listeners have to say. I want to hear what Memechi has to say about ducks. Let's get to it. It's a new year, new season, new calls. Same old shit.
Right.
Sunny day, sweeping the cloud calls away. Hello, Kongversation. It's Kevin Bolger here, and I'm here for another call that I just had a thought about today. Now, this is a theory I had based on the idea that Retro could be working on a third Donkey Kong game, because reading tea leaves, there's a lot that could be pointing to that, and how it's safe to assume that they're not done with Donkey Kong yet. So, for codename Baja Blast, my question is actually about how Retro has been following a lot of Donkey Kong fan-related Twitter accounts, such as DK Vine, which is, of course, very big to follow. Now, here's the thing I've noticed with fan service in Donkey Kong games in terms of recent years. Now, Teon hits the nail excellent with fan service. But as much as I like Returns and love Tropical Freeze, I always felt that there's more that they can do to reference the whole Donkey Kong world and fan service world. So do you think that with Retro following DK Vine, and maybe even lurking on the forums even more than they did this time around than they did with Tropical Freeze, if they're working on a third Donkey Kong game, do you think in the next game we could possibly see even more of a fan service game? Like, who knows? Maybe we can get Keisuke Tanabe to play Which Brothers Bear is Best. You never know. So, but do you think, I would personally think that each one builds onto the other, and that we're probably going to get more fan service in Baja Blast. Of course, the biggest of all is getting the Kremlings and the Animal Buddies and King K. Rool back. But if you put that along with a lot of references to our past in the Donkey Kong universe and in the Donkey Kong world, I think Retro could really do wonders with it. You know? So what are you guys' stuff? Thank you, and I'll see you guys later.
Well, okay.
Yeah. The best part of waking up to a new call sack is Kevin Bolger.
Hit your cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know how I feel. I want to say yeah, because Retro and their employees, we know they're well aware of the demand for the Kremlings to return.
Well, how could they not be at this point? I mean, they've liked the campaigner, and it's the K. Rool fan base has gone rabid, and there's only a minor sliver of that overlap that includes like DK Vine. It's a huge thing beyond our doors.
Yeah, absolutely. So that being said, they can be aware of it all they want. Is Nintendo going to let them bring back and reference these elements? Because that's been a point of contention lately, a point of conversation on the DK Vine forums. Join the forum. There's never been a better time to join.
dkvine.com/interactive/forum. Yeah, I got it right.
dkvine.com/forum. Just /forum.
Sure, just /forum. No, but I think to answer your question, Nintendo has never stopped anyone from incorporating Kremlings into a Donkey Kong product. That's just one of those.
Are you sure about that?
Pretty sure.
We've had rumblings otherwise from people who might know what's going on in retro.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
I don't want to spell it out so much. Somebody who might know somebody at retro.
Okay. Well, at any rate, what did this somebody allude to?
That Nintendo prohibited them from bringing back the Kremlings.
Just literally that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, secondhand knowledge notwithstanding, it hasn't stopped anyone else seemingly from bringing back the Kremlings. They were even in Super Smash Brothers for 3DS. So
yeah, but Sakurai does what Sakurai wants. So I mean,
look, I don't. If there was a rights issue, or if Nintendo...
there's no rights issue. There's no rights issue. It's this weird philosophy that Nintendo has that you don't use what another team creates. You come up with your own stuff as much as possible.
Really? Because Mario has been pretty homogenous for over a decade.
Well, to an extent. You never see Nintendo EAD use Daisy or Waluigi or some of the other characters that are exclusively stuck in the sports titles and the kart racers.
I don't know. I think I'm not going to put too much credence in that. I mean, I don't think this person is trying to mislead us, whomever this is on the forum. I think I have an idea of who it is, but yeah, you're right. Let's not blab it out to the world. I don't want to say they're lying. I'm just saying, like, I don't see any actual evidence looking at the docket of games that the Kremlings are trying to be swept under a rug. But I would look at it as Kevin mentioned on the call, the likes that that Retros and Michael Kelbau's social media have done, like on Twitter, the follows. As indicative of maybe where they could be thinking if we are getting another Donkey Kong Country game.
Yeah, and there is where the hope lies. But, I'm just saying that I don't think Retro even has the same freedom that Rare had back in the 90s. They're a lot more under Nintendo's thumb and supervised a lot more closely than Rare ever was.
But that's the nature of the company structure. They are literally owned by Nintendo, and Rare never was.
Right. Nintendo only had a stake in Rare.
49%.
Yeah, right. So that being said, I would hope that maybe the background artist would be bigger fans of Donkey Kong Country, as I love Tropical Freeze. I think it's probably my second favorite DKC still, even almost 2 years after initially playing it. So it's not just the initial hype of the game. I'm still in love with it.
I'll need to Twitch that one soon. I would love to replay that. You're right, it has been 2 years, hasn't it? Yeah.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Jeez.
So that being said, it is frustrating how it seems like, as far as background elements, they usually only reference the arcade games, or bizarrely like other things like Mario, like putting like a P-wing on a boat, or like having Bowser's tank in the background. Like, why are you referencing Mario?
Mr. Game & Watch was back there too.
Yeah, okay, but yeah, you're referencing all that stuff, and you can't put in like I don't know, Squid or Crate in the background. Like, I don't know. It's like you're making a Donkey Kong Country game. Like, stay focused.
Stay focused to the things that we want to see.
Well, I'm sorry. Okay, this isn't Smash Brothers, though. This is effing DKC. This is the mothership, baby.
I don't know. I I think that we have reason to believe, especially considering the fact that after the game came out, Michael Kelbau and I forget the other guy's name, who was one of the team at Retro, said that their unfinished business was the lack of animal buddies in Tropical Freeze.
Wasn't that Tanabe?
Was it Tanabe and Kelbau?
Yeah, I want to say it was Tanabe.
Okay. Yeah, Ken Tanabe, who's basically the Nintendo side of the development efforts for these games. He of the beautiful chestnut brown hair. He's our Sakurai, damn it.
Unnaturally brown chestnut hair.
Yes, because brown is not a color that appears in nature.
For a man of his age, it's not.
Rogaine notwithstanding,
he's got the Paul McCartney thing going on, where it's kind of trendy on blonde at this point.
Yeah.
It's like,
do not age gracefully. Anyway, so if it was Kensuke Tanabe and Michael Kelbau, they were saying that the unfinished business is that they would have liked to have had more animal buddies in the games.
Buddies, yeah.
So if they ever stepped back into this universe, that would probably be a pretty good indication of the first thing they would do. And if that's a
good question. What would you rather have back more, the Kremlings or more animal buddies?
Animal buddies.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah, I don't. Well, look, the Kremlings are a visual element, but the animal buddies could really drastically influence and add some variety to the gameplay. I think we essentially got the Kremlings with the Snowmads. They're just not crocodilian. Whereas
the Snowmads are essentially created. You can tell they closely looked at the Kremlings and what made them appealing to fans and replicated that. It's very scientific what they did with the Snowmads.
Right.
And I'm not besmirching the Snowmads. I like the Snowmads, but you can clearly see what they borrow from. And
what would you say, though? Would you rather go buddies or
honestly
baddies?
Honestly, animal buddies. As much as I want K. Rool back, as much as I want the Kremlings back, I feel like the animal buddies are the key missing ingredient that keeps Retro's games from really feeling like Donkey Kong Country at times.
Yeah. And you even said it yourself, and I agree with you. It's the second. Tropical Freeze is the second best Donkey Kong Country game.
Yeah, I'm not knocking Retro's games. I love them. I think they're great, and they really do carry on the legacy with their head held high. But yeah, there's room for improvement. There always is, and I'm not just saying that as a whiny fan. And Retro themselves realizes that they need animal buddies. So whether or not we're going to get another entry, that's anyone's guess. But I think that given the social media follows, given these unfinished business statements, I think we have reason to believe that if there is another one, it will be a little closer to incorporating some of those more traditional DKC elements. And let's hope that there's also more background gags, beyond just the one Cranky Kong one in 1-3.
Oh, what? Oh! You're talking about the gramophone?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about in Return. See you later, crocodile. Or what was it?
See you later, alligator.
Haha.
Yeah. Well, that's from Donkey Kong Country itself, but
Oh, is it? They just reused the line?
They just reused the line.
Yeah. It must have been from the first world, considering the bug in Donkey Kong Country. All right, let's take another call.
All right.
Hey, you guys, it's me again. I'm actually
Oh.
music on Inner Circle bench. So, I've been thinking about it for a bit. The whole Smash Bros. Thing lately. So if you knew about this, in the Smash thread, apparently, NeoGaf posted, a guy from NeoGaf posted a post on the Smash Brothers thread that, oh my god, you see all those King K. Rool fans there? We should death upon Sakurai. See how crazy they are? And, that kind of makes me think for a sec. What do you guys think about the naysayers? The ones who say, oh, you should be happy with what we get. Or Well, you guys just sound to you and get exactly what you wanted. But you expect Sakurai work so hard just to make most people happy, which he doesn't. But basically, what do you got to say to someone saying that Sakurai is not to blame, that he does just what's best for their game? What do you say to them? Just before it goes, I want to say one thing. A friend of mine tried to argue with me that the Fire Emblem characters are for the Western audience because Fire Emblem Awakening currently sold 60,000 copies or something. 600,000 copies in the U.S. Who knows, but what do you think about that? The Fire Emblem and Cloud and whatever the hell her name is being for the Western audiences. Or it's just Sakurai making excuses or whatever. And I guess one more thing. Just a reminder, Rhythm Heaven 3DS has outsold Fire Emblem Fates, the new one, in Japan so far. And yeah, so that's just kind of some proof that Sakurai is, biased himself. I'm just saying. Anyway, thanks for your time, guys. Love you.
Whoa, that was weird. At the end of the call, it was like all of a sudden he wasn't speaking from inside an echo chamber.
Yeah. He really should move out of the biodome at some point.
Yeah, he just loves that purple sticky punch, though. Thank you for the call,
I thought he was
Mamechi.
a fan of ducks, not the weasel. God, we're so painfully 90s.
There are... The conversation is so 90s, man. There were like 3 questions in that.
It was all Smash Brothers related. We can chop through it real quick.
Right. What was it? Do you think that we deserve Donkey Kong elements, or should we just be happy with what we got?
Neither. We don't deserve anything, but doesn't mean we should be happy with what we got. Ultimately, Smash 4, we disagree on what makes it disappointing to an extent. We agree on a lot of things. We like the Venn diagram does meet in the middle here, but we both kind of have come to the conclusion that it's ultimately a very disappointing iteration of the franchise. Correct?
Yeah. No, I agree. It's disappointing from a character, unless you have.
I'm talking like we mostly agree on like the gameplay, the nature of it. It's just not very
the
fun.
features. I mean, the gameplay is solid. It's just what you're using that foundation to do isn't very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like the one thing that really could have blown the doors off of the Smash Brothers experience is an online mode with servers that could keep up with relatively minimal lag, and we didn't get that either. No. It was virtually unplayable online in a lot of cases.
To be fair, I'm glad that they're employing those hamsters on the wheel,
in the server farms.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, it keeps them fit.
Yeah. So it's, and also there were modes in the game that you would want to play 2-player, even online.
Smash Run.
But they're completely restricted in weird kind of arbitrary ways. Yeah, it was just kind of, we've been over it. It's not a game for us. The target audience is not us, and that's fine. I'm not going to burn any more calories moaning about it, though.
It's okay, and here's my issue with it, that I think we part ways a little bit. Mm-hmm. But we can at least respectfully see each other's point of view. For me, like, if I'm getting nothing out of it, like Melee, honestly, Melee didn't have a whole lot for Donkey Kong fans, but it was a damn solid game. Solid. One of the best for the GameCube.
Yeah.
So I probably put more hours into Melee than I have. It's probably, most games in my library. Just fantastic. And so if Smash 4 isn't going to give me that solid gameplay and solid modes and features that makes me want to keep just digging into the game, at the very least, I would hope there'd be fan service for all Nintendo fans,
right.
Something for us to all sink our teeth into. But it is very lopsided with certain franchises. And yes, I mean, and yes, when you have 40 anime sword fighters in the game, it definitely seems like Sakurai's not even trying at this point. He's definitely just skewing towards his personal preferences, which, he didn't want to make this game. It was kind of sprung on him by Iwata, so whatever.
Yeah. And it's a strange, Mamechi said his friend was claiming that the Fire Emblem characters were for a Western audience, which is it's a strange statement when in the last Smash Brothers announcement, who's that new character? Corrin? Was it?
Corrin.
Isn't
that
even
classic character.
Well, that character hasn't even been introduced. It's basically like Roy was in Melee, only now this is like the 6th Fire Emblem character, something like that. And so they
brought Roy back, the advertisement character from 2 generations ago. They brought him back as DLC, and then they had of advertisement character as one of the last DLC characters. It's too much of the same thing, and you would think they would want to diversify their DLC to kind of reach out across all fan bases in Nintendo world, whatever. Yeah. They didn't, and whatever. It's done.
Well, the most frustrating part of it for me is just the missed opportunity, because Nintendo I think that this paints a poor picture of the diversity of Nintendo's intellectual properties. If you were to look at the Smash Brothers 4 roster, you would think that Nintendo is basically it looks like a Square Enix It's like a bunch of anime characters, and then occasionally they have some cartoony stuff. There's a chocobo over there, but
it's such a weird left turn for the franchise, considering the first 3 weren't like that at all. And you could say, well, they ran out of iconic cartoon characters. They ran out of the classic Nintendo characters we think of. They ran out of that. They had to diversify and go into 6 Fire Emblem characters. How is it that Fire Emblem dwarfs Zelda now in characters? It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and so in that, I just see a missed opportunity. But I think that we can. Now that that's been the final Smash Brothers announcement for at least for this generation, I'm hoping that we can put it behind us.
It takes a while to heal, Chad. It takes a while to heal, but I think we're well on our way. We're going. I'm over it at this point. Like, seriously, I'm over it. I'd rather argue with people about the merits of the new Star Wars, but I still kind of reflect on it when I'm forced to, like when people call in and ask about it, and I'm like,
thanks for the call, Mamechi.
Yeah, that's really kind of lame. But I'm hoping I feel like Sakurai has said everything he can possibly say about the franchise. I feel like he got to that point with Brawl, so I'm really hoping there's some new blood that takes over the reins, and it's less of this auteur vision next time around, because really we need people with different interests kind of shepherding this baby, because not only is Donkey Kong criminally underrepresented in this series, so are a lot of franchises, including Zelda, which Zelda, I'm sorry, as biased as I am towards Donkey Kong, I'm big enough to admit Zelda's a far bigger deal than Donkey Kong. So why is Zelda getting the short end of the stick? I don't.
I would even say, our faux antagonistic fan brethren in the Metroid fan community. Honestly, say what you will about it being too big or whatever, but Ridley would be a really fun fighter. Flapping its wings around like Meta Knight. That'd be a lot of fun.
But again, Metroid is only really inherently popular in the West, and it never really floated Sakurai's boat. So he's not going to really same reason he didn't really make an effort to even get K. Rool in the game. If he wanted to make a character work, he could get it to work. I don't buy that argument. But again, we're just spinning our hamster wheels here, the same hamster wheels that are making Smash's multiplayer work online. So
I would just say, look, fool you once. Shame on Sakurai. And I'm talking more about not the quality of the game, because it does work for some people, but really what happens to the fan base. We tore ourselves apart for Brawl, but it's not necessarily our fault. But fool us twice, shame on us. We should have known better this time around, and yet we tore ourselves apart. Not just DK Vine, like all of Nintendo tore itself apart over every single. We agonized and ripped the game code and argued and got nasty and bitter.
Here's the thing, though. We could have been over this over a year ago.
Yeah.
Had they not turned to this whole populist idea of a poll and a fan poll, and we're listening to you, and then all of a sudden it becomes. That's really where it went off the rails, I think. And,
well, then you had the campaigns, and you had and some of those were a cause for good. I mean, the guys behind the Kremlin campaign for K. Rool, that was a positive message. But
K. Rool, the character, despite only getting a Mii costume which, by the way, that just goes to show you got Nintendo's attention. Mm-hmm. That K. Rool costume would not exist had he not utterly dominated in the polls. I think that's proof that he might have even been winning, Yeah. And but ultimately Sakurai felt like Bayonetta was the most plausible character because it represented his probably likes more, and I don't think he would even admit that to himself. She
has guns that shoot out of her stiletto heels, Hyle. It's a groundbreaking character design.
Yes, for a progressive message for feminists too. I don't know. I'm sure I haven't played Bayonetta, so I'm not going to shit talk it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take another call.
I just shat talk it a bit, but I'm not going to shit talk it anymore. Also, Memechi mentioned something about Rhythm Heaven, and it outsold something, and I know. I'm sorry, man. What do you want me to say?
Yep. Just Hyle. Just let it be in Smash Brothers. Just do that for Memechi. Just do that.
I'll do
another
that,
call.
Hello, this
Hi.
is Brick.
What?
Brick?
I have to tell you about a dream. In the distant future, the year 2016, Nintendo announces at their E3 presentation the Nintendo 5DS. The audience is shocked. The world is shocked. The entire world stops to listen to the next 5 minutes of what Nintendo has to say. On the first screen, you touch the buttons, and there's also a touch screen on there. On the second screen, you see the screen. On the third screen, you hear from a mono audio thing. On the fourth screen, you taste. You literally stick your tongue on the screen and you taste whatever's going on in the game. And on the fifth screen, you smell. You stick your nose in a little hole, and it emits all the odors from the game. So, that's my dream. What do you guys think? Thank you. Goodbye.
I think what you're describing are senses, not screens.
No, I'm. You know what? I'm on board with this idea. Mm-hmm. I love this idea.
Yeah.
If I could smell Donkey Kong Island, if I could taste it, if I could taste things, hairy creatures, sure. I think this is what is missing from the 3DS experience, because 3D is passe. Okay, James Cameron made it a big thing, and then we kind of lost our interest with it. Same way we lost our interest with Avatar. Still a fun movie, just like Independence Day, though. Not a lot of substance. So I think smell and taste are really what's going to be the next wave of adding price amount to entertainment. So if you want to jack up movie tickets more, gotta let them taste what's on screen.
But in defense of, I can't let you idly besmirch or rather compare Independence Day to Avatar, because at least Independence Day had charm.
Oh, you're saying Avatar didn't even have charm?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm saying Avatar borrowed its charm from other sources.
Yeah, Dances with Wolves.
And a little Pocahontas.
Yeah. It's just Independence Day had the je ne sais quoi that Avatar did not have.
Okay, fair enough. Avatar did have Sigourney Weaver.
Mm-hmm. This is the second week in a row that I've gone to bat for Independence Day, by the way. I don't know why that is.
I have a feeling it's going to be a running theme this season. And
is it coming out this year, or is it like one of those they announce it and then it comes out, 24 months from now?
This summer, it's the 20th anniversary of the original Independence Day.
Oh, shit. Oh, I can't wait. We're going to have to do a Conversation mini for Independence for ID5.
That means I'm going to have to see it in a theater. Okay.
No, I can just describe to you in excruciating detail all the plot points.
At least the original Independence Day was like colorful, and this just looks like blue and orange, like every other damn movie in this day and age.
It'll be interesting to see, Roland Emmerich kind of after Independence Day based every movie that he ever made on the thing that he kind of perfected in Independence Day, that way over the top mass destruction, and then he made 2012, he made Day After Tomorrow. They're all basically that same idea, just with a slightly different canvas. So I'm interested to see what he does when he goes back to that thing that inspired the rest of his career. And I think you're right. It is just going to be teal and orange.
Yeah.
With Will Smith's son in the mix, who was played by wasn't that little Nicky from Fresh Prince in the first movie?
Yeah, not anymore. Now they replace him with an actor who looks like Will Smith, despite the fact that they weren't biologically related in the original.
Oh yeah, that was the stripper's kid, wasn't it?
That's right. She had a name, Chad. It wasn't just the stripper.
I don't remember Will Smith's character. I remember his name. He's Captain Harper, I think. Captain.
Yeah. Steve Harper.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's right or not.
It might be. It probably is, but I don't remember her name.
And then there was Ian Malcolm. No.
Completely separate character.
Anyway.
Let's take another call.
Yeah, I would like to smell Donkey Kong Island, wouldn't you?
Sure. I agree with you, Brick.
Hey, it's MF Wolf here.
Hey!
I was just playing through Conker's Big Reunion, and I noticed a little thing in the text in the opening, or the closing letter, the one that is on the Cock and Plucker. It says, "You guys, if you thought that I was going to talk about anything other than Ptolemy Von Ghoul this week, you would be out of your mind." So we basically found out that Slalom is the prequel to Banjo-Kazooie. Hyle, I know that you're probably pretty upset about this, and Chad, I know that you probably are pretty into this.
I'm going to pause it right there. Hyle, do you have any idea what MF Wolf is referring to?
Vaguely. I've kind of blocked it out for my own self-preservation.
Okay, let's hear if he elaborates. If not, I'll bring you up to speed.
But I think that it has to be true. I don't think that our rules really allow for any other interpretation. The Rare Twitter page, for those of you not in the know,
Jesus Christ.
basically said that the slalom player is his name is Ptolemy Von Ghoul, and that he's Banjo's foster father. Now, it's true that the Rare Twitter page did say that the slalom player had a different name at first, and that he had a different identity, but that tweet was accompanied by the caption, "Note, this is non-canon." So I have to assume that it is. The second tweet, citing the Rare Replay team, probably Chris Alcock, but probably Chris Alcock, said that it is Ptolemy Von Ghoul, Banjo Bear's foster father. This opens a lot of different questions. Is this indicative of anything that Banjo had to deal with growing up, switching parents? Because we know that his biological father is Bear Bear.
Yes.
Just one more thing to credit the validity of this tweet. It's not just Lee Loveday or whoever was manning the Rare Twitter handle at the time that said this, because later Chris Alcock came in with his personal Twitter handle. He said it as well. Then later James Taylor, programmer for Rare, came in. He said it as well.
Not James Taylor.
So
James Taylor.
Three different Rare credited Twitter handles. I gotta say, this is legit, guys. I really think
I'm
so.
I'm seeing fire, and I'm seeing
Now,
rain.
this does raise a few more questions. Where does slalom take place? Is it taking place on the other side of the mountain from Freezeezy Peak? Or maybe it's on the icy side of Hailfire Peaks. Maybe it's on Razor Ridge. That'd be interesting. Okay, I'll talk to you friends later. Mwah!
well, I think Mitchell was. Thank you for the call, by the way. He was confusing rare engineer James Taylor with famous folk musician James Thomas.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. Yes. So that's the whole story. Hyle, what do you make of this?
Oh my God. All right. Well, for one thing, slalom is in DKU because you can't retroactively predate something in a DKU.
Right. Donkey Kong Country onward, as far as the games go. However, we do look to older titles as historical contextual information. Like, those events happened.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So I love this. So if you think Ptolemy, so if the slalomer's name is Ptolemy von Ghoul, and MF Wolf is right, I think it was Macmillius Rumpington III was the non-canon game that was almost certainly given by Lee Loveday, but it was on the @RareLimited Twitter account. If that's non-canon, according to them, and then they provide from the Rare Replay team Ptolemy von Ghoul, Banjo's foster father, is the slalomer, then hey man, I didn't write the rules. Well, it kind of did, but but we're still bound by them. I think that, yeah, why not? The slalomer, Ptolemy von Ghoul, is Banjo's foster father after his real father, Bear, wanted nothing to do with his upbringing. You have nothing to say about this.
All right, let's wait to see if it's referenced in game.
Mm-hmm. You do
Otherwise,
realize these people work at Rare. They could easily.
You do realize these people clearly have nothing better to do with their day than mess with us, right? I mean,
I can't wait to see Ptolemy just show up as an NPC in Sea of Thieves.
Oh, okay. If it happens, it happens, and I'll think it's fantastic. At this point, whatever. Ptolemy von Ghoul. Okay, how's he related to the Baron?
We don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He might not even be, in the same way there are lots of people with the last name Jones,
Well, Von Ghoul, that old, yeah. This country was founded on the back of the Von Ghouls.
Yeah. Johnsons, Von Ghouls, I don't know. It's obviously they're just taking the piss, but
they are. Look, I'll say this much: it sounds like they saw Spectre, and then decided to extrapolate from Spectre's backstory. I know you haven't seen Spectre, Chad.
No,
okay.
I still haven't. To my detriment, I wanted to see it. I just never got to it.
This just sounds like the backstory that they gave James Bond in Spectre. So, we'll see. Which, by the way, James Bond, another classic Rare character, but.
Right.
Not Daniel Craig, so.
Yeah. So I think the real takeaway, whether or not you want to declare this canon, and I think we're coming at it from two different angles, but both of them are valid. The wait and see versus the why the hell not. Regardless of that, I think it's really great that at this point, whomever it was on the Rare Replay team, probably Chris Alcock and probably James Thomas.
I love you, Chris. I love you, Chris, but
don't tell them to knock it off. No, my point was that it's amazing that they know exactly who they're targeting with these statements.
Oh
it's
yeah,
us.
oh yeah.
It's fantastic.
Chris, you're making my life a lot more difficult.
Keep it up.
As the unofficial keeper of the fanon. All right. I'm even like, look, we've accepted a lot of things. Like Gwyneth von Ghoul was the Baron's wife. And so I'm more than willing to accept it. I just need some time to process this because what the hell?
What, do you have a hard time believing that someone from the Von Ghoul family could have such spectacularly carved buttocks?
Yeah, I don't.
No, that's the correct answer.
No, it's more Banjo's increasingly convoluted early backstory that I'm starting to have.
And now we have confusion again with Goldilocks and Little Bear because potentially related to that bear family.
Or at least friends of that bear family. Yeah, I really don't know. But
it's like the Buster and Babs Bunny no relation thing.
If Banjo had a foster father, well, what age was he? Because you also have to take into account Tootie, who's much younger than Banjo.
Yeah. You also have to wonder, like, what is the fostering structure like? I'm in the middle of reading Game of Thrones at the moment, and in Westeros, when they take a foster, like a ward, it's because they have conquered someone, and it's essentially they're essentially taking over this child as ransom, and then they treat them moderately well depending on who they are. But that's what fostering amounts to. It's stealing children from your vanquished enemies.
We've got to move on here, but I will say I don't think it's wise to draw comparisons between the Rare Archipelago and Westeros from Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't think we need that much rape and incest inserted into.
We've got plenty already.
We have implied rape and incest.
Sorry, I was trying to get to the next.
No, I heard what was coming, though. That's fine.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, it's me again. The one guy. Mamechi. Or Mamet.
Jesus Christ.
So I want to ask? Right, so I have two questions in this call. First question is for Up. I'm really interested in the history of DK Vine and stuff. You know that. Talk about it sometimes, but I'm curious. There's one thing from DK Vine that one point in history on DK Vine that you just regret yourself doing. Like, I'm not sure. Well, you know what I mean. Do you regret doing something that just...
What are you trying to say,
that happened in the early years? Like, I keep hearing about some guy named Lanky David or something, or whatever his name was. I'm curious, do you regret that thing, or what is it even? I want to know what that is. So I guess my question is, who is Lanky David? Whoever. And what are some other classic trolls from DK Vine in that case? I would like to know that you remember fondly or regretfully. Last question. This weekend I went to Universal Studios City Walk. I had a lot of fun at the park and stuff. Talked about it a bit when I talked to the Grinch about Star Wars. But I went to Bubba Gump Restaurant, which was actually pretty good. Yeah, I know it's kind of cheesy. It's a Forrest Gump themed restaurant, but it was tasty. So my second question today is, if you guys were in charge of opening up a DKU themed chain restaurant of theme restaurants, how would you do it, and what would the menu be? It could be anything from the DKU, okay? But yeah, that's about it for today. I'll see you guys, and again, just to remind you, who's Lanky David? I legitimately want to know. All right, yeah.
I swear to God, we've answered both of these questions previously.
I like how his questions go on for so long, he has to remind us what the initial question was.
Right. Yeah, it's like watching the news in England versus watching it here. Like, over there, they tell you the story, and then they recap it. Whereas here, we tease it, and then just whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, he takes the, I feel like he takes the more audience and information-focused approach. I appreciate that about Mamechi's calls.
In the tradition of Edward R. Murrow, yes. Okay,
right.
Lanky David, well, he was an early troll on the DK Vine forum. Mm-hmm. I don't know what more you want to take from that. I don't really remember much about him, honestly.
Yeah, I don't regret too much about DK Vine. I think when we answered this question the last time, it was, I think my answer was, being too hard on Rare when we knew very little about what was actually going on at Rare during
we were rarely hard on Rare, though. I mean, it was more Microsoft.
I guess that's a better way to phrase it. Yeah,
we were always hyper defensive of Rare, and that in turn gave way to ugliness directed towards people who did not deserve our anger. Nor did the anger have any merit in and of itself. But
yeah, so
we have answered that. Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like we've also answered what we'd put in a Donkey Kong themed restaurant. I mean, I guarantee we've answered that. It was like a bunch of fruit stuff,
bananas au gratin,
fried bananas, peanut butter banana sandwiches.
Also, we'd have the menu from Jolly's. Toad in the hole. Salty dumplings.
How many more Mamechi calls are we going to have? We appreciate each and every one of your calls, Mamechi.
We love you, Mamechi. We love you.
Yes, but good night and good luck. All right, one more? Well, another, not one more. We're halfway through.
Yeah. Let's keep emptying this
call
call
guys,
sack.
ACZ here. Just want to call and ask a question for this week. And I've got an interesting one, at least. About a couple of weeks ago, I attended a convention. I was staffing for it, and I happened to see a guy who had this very interesting real life board game version of Mario Party. And the weird thing about it was, it actually had tons and tons of DKU characters you can play as, and there were real mini games and everything. It was pretty crazy, and it was actually pretty fun. So I guess my question to you this week is, what would you want to see in an actual DKU-inspired Mario Party? It could be with the Rare characters. It could be with just Donkey Kong characters. Just what is your dream, DKU party game, I guess? And what do you want to see from it? Anyways, that's about it. Talk to you guys later. See ya.
It's funny, everyone was kind of flirting with the concept of Dream, but no one had a question about last week's episode, Project Dream. We got the dream about the Nintendo 5S. We've got the dreamed up Mario Party board game. Well, first off, I want to know what this thing is called, because I would love to try it out. ACZ, if you can call back and let us know.
Yeah, right before we started recording, I actually glanced on our Facebook page, and he posted something about it. I've not had a chance to really read about it. But, he provided, I believe, a picture, so I'll be curious to take a better look at that.
Yeah, well, I'll blast it out to Twitter if you do the Facebook honors, and by the time the episode's out, we will have answered that question.
But I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't want just a board game, because Mario Party broke me after so many annual iterations. I just feel like there's not much more to do with the concept. So if there was going to be a party game, let's think outside the box a bit. Let's not just have it be the roll the die, move the character around the board, play mini game kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that there are some really fun board games, and they're sort of the whole concept of board games has evolved in the last few years, and it's no longer shoots and ladders. Now you've got, I think the gateway one is Settlers of Catan, which is kind of
Cones of Dunshire.
Right. I want to be the accountant. I think that obviously Settlers of Catan is kind of this might be an uncharitable way to phrase it, but it's a watered down Risk. It's a more accessible Risk. I think something like that could be really cool. That's almost like tower defense RTS in a way, but turn based. And I think you could take the concept of a turn based game that isn't just a board game with mini games that disrupt the flow, and make that engaging as a multiplayer video game. But as far as doing that with the Donkey Kong license, I mean, anything that I'm thinking would just be like a skin of an existing concept.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and when you say DKU, well, the fundamental problem is that Donkey Kong and the Rare properties are kind of split, and Star Fox on the Nintendo side, they're kind of split, and granted, tensions have thawed between Microsoft and Nintendo as far as Phil Spencer is concerned. Spencer, sorry, force of habit.
Yeah, that's as bad as the James Thomas, James Taylor thing.
Well, to be fair, that was a running joke on TED Talks, referring to Phil or saying Phil Spencer and then showing a picture of Phil Spector because we're cheap. But you've still got essentially two separate companies. So I don't know the context where they could cross over, but I guess I would like to see what Rare could do with the concept, sure, because they can always take a tired concept and really spark new life to it. So, having a Rare party game with their characters, I think, would be fun to see. That'd be
we got it. It was called Anticipation, and it was a classic.
Why don't we have a new Anticipation? Do like it was with Diddy Kong Racing, where they take an old Rare property and add anthropomorphic animals.
That'd be cool. Let's do, sort of like RC Pro-Am became Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, exactly. So now, granted, you're still going to have to keep Yellow Shirt Guy, have him be an integral part of the storyline. But
yes, he's the one that wants to bring about the second. He's the one who has so much anticipation that never was fulfilled, and so the for some reason that's what kicks off the events that lead to all of the current Rare stable of characters joining up.
He could be the Taj of the game.
Right.
He's a non-playable benefactor.
And he always has that expression at all times.
That's going to be my answer. I want to see a new version of Anticipation, which is basically like Pictionary, right?
I don't even know what it was.
I've watched videos of it on YouTube because I'm that lame. And
I think it's the kind of game whose box art eclipses the very game.
Right. So you would want to pay homage to that box art, but have it be like DKU characters like Banjo, Conquer, some Ghoulies, some Mr. Pants, some Pinatas, some Sea of Thieves now,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the call, ACZ. And I really do look forward to seeing whatever that Mario Party-esque game was. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next caller.
Noma met you.
Howdy, partners. This is Elvis from the Tom Hanks Giving Podcast.
What?
Just wanted to give you a call, say I love the show, and thank you for getting me to finally try Donkey Kong Country Returns. I loved it. I've yet to play Tropical Freeze, but it's next on my list. Two questions for you. One, we have a new film in the Kung Fu Panda series coming out at the end of January 2016. And I've noticed some cosmetic similarities between this and our friends on Donkey Kong Island. Do you think there's any possibility for crossover here? Canonically, the Kung Fu Panda series takes place in China. Is it possible that on the other side of the globe or another point in history, these two shared a universe? Second question is, which Donkey Kong universe character would Tom Hanks be best suited to play? All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. It's not even his show.
I just looked it up. It's a thing. Tom Hanks Giving by Elvis Kunish from Splot Studios. It's,
really?
Yeah, it's a podcast where Tom Hanks' career is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Join Elvis Kunish, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, and a special guest as we discuss every single film of the two-time Oscar-winning patron saint of cinema, Tom Hanks. And my God, they do have episodes for, like, my God, Dragnet, the movie, is in here. Holy crap. So this is on iTunes, so check it out.
I wonder if they dabble in the larger Hanks universe. Like, do they talk about Fargo thanks to his son's presence, or are they Tom Hanks purists?
Yeah. I don't see Orange County on here, so I don't think Colin Hanks is applicable. But I also don't see Bosom Buddies. We're doing an episode about Bosom Buddies. Come on, guys.
Yeah. Loosen the necktie a little. Come on, guys. Thank you for the call, though. I'm glad that you gave Returns a fair shake, and Tropical Freeze blows it out of the water, so you'll enjoy that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say As to the question about, well, there's two questions. I don't know about the Kung Fu Panda thing. I'm not really that familiar with the series, so I'm not sure what he's alluding to.
People have compared like DreamWorks characters to retros designs for characters in the DKC series. So I don't know.
Okay. Is Tom Hanks in Kung Fu Panda 3? Like, why would that be on this guy's radar?
I honestly do not. Well, I think this guy probably has more interest besides Tom Hanks, just like we have more interest besides the Donkey Kong universe.
I guess. But
I mean,
okay.
we're well-rounded people here, Chad. Come on.
Yeah, occasionally. So, what Donkey Kong character would do you think Tom Hanks should play?
Now, is it just Donkey Kong, or is it broader Donkey Kong universe?
Let's say DKU to keep it interesting.
Okay, well, Tom Hanks, he's considered Hollywood's nicest guy. So, I don't know, because he's quintessentially an American actor, so I can't see him play Mr. Pants, despite Mr. Pants being the equivalent of the most beloved celebrity. So, because there's usually, like, the only humans in the DKU are, like, sociopaths, like rapists, pedophiles, you know.
Well, hey, I would have him play one of the above. I think Tom Hanks, despite the fact he would have to put on an accent, would make a fantastic Baron von Ghoul, of the slaloming von Ghouls, of course.
Yeah, thanks, Chris Alcock.
Thank you. Hey, and don't forget James Thomas.
Oh, James Taylor?
And probably Adam Park was in there somewhere.
Sure, yeah.
No, I think it'd be cool to. I mean, he's got kind of the lanky physique. I think he's a solid character actor. I think he could stretch his abilities in a barony direction. I'd like to see that.
He's not as lanky as he once was, though. You're thinking '80s Tom Hanks. You're thinking like the bachelor party Tom Hanks. You know?
Oh yeah, but yeah, he used to stretch his abilities to suit his mood.
He's still in okay shape. He's just he's gotten older. So I'm gonna say Mario.
Okay, interesting.
Like, I could see him do a pretty like bent Mario, like a Mario with a little bit of bite to it, not just the Charles Martinet, no Mickey Mouse.
Life is like a box of uncooked spaghetti.
Yeah, like I'm not thinking like Charles Martinet. Like recently in the DK Vine Inner Circle, which you can join if you back us at a certain tier on Patreon, we all started watching the Super Mario Brothers movie just straight up one night, and I realized I actually prefer that version of Mario over the Charles Martinet Super Mario 64 Onward Mario.
Oh, of course, because he seems like a real guy. He's not Mickey Mouse.
I think I would like Tom Hanks to kind of bring some of that Bob Hoskins,
alcoholism.
No, but I think Tom Hanks could really reinvent Mario and make him a more relatable character, or just go completely weird with it. But yeah. I'm going to say Mario.
Interesting choice. Well, Elvis, keep up the good work on the podcast, and Hanks for the call.
Hello, it's me, Reggie. So, I'm in a really good mood for some reason. I don't know why.
What?
I feel positive. That's good, right? Anyway, got a question again for you guys. Okay.
Oh, I feel uncomfortable.
Anyway, all I want to know is about... I almost forgot my question, bud. So, here's a little thing that happened. A while back, I forgot what I was going to ask. So, hold up a sec. Alright, now I remember. So, I'm just curious about what do you guys think about? Wow, I really lost what I was gonna say. Sorry. Oh, now I remember. Donkey Kong 3.
Oh.
So, as I was mentioned in the Inner Circle, I've been playing Donkey Konga 3 a lot lately, and it kind of sucks so much that it's not enough to break my good mood. But anyway, Hyle, my question to you today is, if Donkey Konga could make a comeback, I'm not saying it will, but if Donkey Kong could be given another chance as a rhythm game, how would you go at it? How would you make it? Okay? Because, as far as we know, Donkey Kong is kind of lazy. Anyway, goodbye! Adios! Nada. Something. Yeah! Bye now.
Shit. That call was unsettling.
Here's the thing. I honestly questioned for the first solid minute if it actually was Mamechi. Mm-hmm. Because I thought I thought somebody was doing a weird, like, Mamechi impression.
Mm-hmm. He's turned into the Spartacus of the Kongversation.
Okay.
I'm worried. Mamechi lives in the Los Angeles area. We're going to be back there for E3 this year. I'm worried about a Misery type scenario.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We will have our kneecap shattered, I'm sure.
Or if he's a book purist, he'll just lob off our feet.
Mamechi, I don't know, he downloaded Donkey Konga 3. I'm not sure how he's playing it, considering it was Japan only.
Probably the Dolphin emulator, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I was picking his brain about it in the inner circle because, of course, we never got Donkey Konga 3. There's a lot of unknown quantities here in the West when it comes to that game. Even Mario Wiki doesn't really have much about it. Obviously, we've seen that artwork of Barnacle Bear that's gone around, and I want to know, is Barnacle Bear in the game? But it's inconclusive at this point. I guess how to do Donkey Kong as a rhythm game right? Well, you don't. Done.
Oh, see, I disagree. I think it can be done. I think
they kind of screwed the pooch after the Donkey Konga series. Like, you get one shot. That's it. You're done.
That's the Eminem philosophy of game design.
Eminem the rapper? Or
yeah, you got one
candy?
shot. Do not blow your chance to flow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime, Hyle. Once in a lifetime.
I forgot how much you you see yourself in the story presented in 8 Mile.
Look, I grew up in suburban Houston. He grew up in 8 Mile in Detroit. All right, it's virtually the same upbringing.
Absolutely, no. You're right.
Yeah. No, I think that if you had to make a Donkey Kong rhythm game, you would do it more along the lines of how Rayman Legends did those music-based stages, like the Black Betty one, where and Bit Trip Runner kind of does the same thing, just not with commercial music. I think that since Donkey Kong Country is a 2D platformer at its core, you do what Rayman did, and it's a forced runner, and you hit your controls in time with the music.
Okay, but considering we get essentially one Donkey Kong game per generation now without any like side series, no, don't waste it. Don't waste it on that.
We're working within the premise of Mamechi's Twisted World while we're answering this question, okay?
Okay, so we're at an amusement park. There's ducks everywhere.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, next call.
Sure.
Hello there, Chad and Hyle. This is Log Frog from the forum, and also on Twitter, and on YouTube, and Facebook, and on the Skype discussion, and on the DK Line game night. But enough of that. Anyways, I have 2 questions for you guys. So, Mortal Kombat X is going to have the latest DLC pack where it includes a Xenomorph. And I was wondering if that Xenomorph could be Heinrich from off of Conker's Bad Fur Day. Speaking of Conker's Bad Fur Day, are you going to do a 15th anniversary spotlight on the game soon? Thank you very much.
Well, let's take those questions in reverse order. As for a Bad Fur Day spotlight, I think we'll do one at some point.
Yeah, it is the 15th anniversary of the game this year. I don't know if we want to
2001. That's actually coming up in like 2 months, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to blow our wad on it this year or just wait. But we don't necessarily have to do a spotlight episode on an anniversary year. We haven't, with some spotlights. So I don't know. We'll see. But it's absolutely, of course, we're going to do a spotlight episode on Bad Fur Day eventually. I think it would be idiotic to say we wouldn't.
Yeah, it'll be interesting though to revisit it. I worry that it might wind up similar to the Donkey Kong 64 spotlight that we did. That was notorious.
I don't think it's going to be as bad as that because at the very least, Conker's Bad Fur Day succeeds in what it tries to do.
That's true.
It's not comparable to Banjo-Kazooie, but it's not trying to be a same kind of game.
Yeah.
Whereas Donkey Kong 64 didn't do enough to distinguish itself or carve out its own identity, and that's the primary failing of that game.
Right. I think the worst you could say about Conker's Bad Fur Day is that it's inconsistent. But there are isolated stretches of it that are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And even the inconsistencies add to the charm of the game.
Yeah.
It's a weird game that I think has no comparable, contemporary, or spiritual successor, even,
Right. As for the other part of the question, what was it? Oh, the Xenomorph in Mortal Kombat.
Well, no. I mean, it would have to be explicitly Heinrich, so...
Well, and technically, I mean, we sort of refer to Heinrich in his character biography on DK Vine as a xenomorph, for lack of a better thing to call him, but essentially he's a chimera that was invented by Professor von Krippelspack, or Professor Krippelspack. Yeah,
he's a genetic experiment, perhaps using some alien DNA. We don't know, but that's just fan conjecture.
Yeah, so he's not an alien from off of Aliens. He wasn't planted there by the the bald bodybuilding ancient aliens from Prometheus, or whatever the hell was supposed to have happened in that movie.
No, that was right.
Was that correct?
Think. Well, okay. No, because they had the gunk. They had the black oil that could make aliens, but not the same aliens from the Alien.
Yeah, because you had to, because like the thing, it had to impregnate.
Hey, next call. Next call.
Huh? Okay, next caller.
Hey guys, ACZ here. First thing, happy 2016, guys. We made it. It's finally here. What kind of treasures and oddities await the DKU in 2016? Anyways, I'm here to talk about the end of December, which, as you guys all know, was the reveal of Dream and what it was and what it became with Banjo 2.5D. And all I have to ask this week is, what do you think's next? Or do you think there are even any more secrets for Rare to share with us? I mean, they've pretty much blown their gates wide open ever since Rare Replay and Rare Revealed. I mean, yeah, sure, I guess it'd be cool to learn more about stuff like Donkey Kong Racing and other stuff, but do you think there's any real big secrets like what there was with Dream? Do you think there's anything left to find inside the company? That's about it. Anyways, have a great week. See ya.
Thanks again for the call, ACZ, and again, we get multiple calls from people in this episode because we're emptying a far too full call sack.
It was ready to burst. Slightest movement, it would have gone off.
Yeah, there's still 2 calls after this one that need to trickle out, but I think that
gonna shake that call sack sometimes.
Right. Every last drop of calls. So it's strange the position that, or the state that Rare's archives must be in, because so much of that content is probably tied to the Nintendo IP that they no longer really have access.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say anything else really that it remains to be seen, would be stuff they really can't show because it's going to be Donkey Kong related.
And we even talked about earlier in this episode the early DK64. That we know there was a build. Mark Stevenson was talking about it on Twitter months ago.
Yeah.
Of this weird pseudo linear version, and we're never going to see that.
I wouldn't say never say never.
I guess.
Never say never.
Okay, so here's a hypothetical. If Nintendo had their hands on that kind of stuff, do you think we would ever see it from Nintendo?
Oh, absolutely not. But I'm saying transparent Jinjo, was a leak. I think the leaks are taken care of at Rare, and that was mostly from the portable team. I'm pretty sure, but
wait. What is transparent Jinjo again?
Remember that the Diddy Kong Pilot, all the leaked ROMs.
Those things. Yeah. And I think there was also that Battletoads GBA that came out, and yeah.
That being said, I mean, it could leak eventually. I just never want to say definitive statements like never say we're never going to see it, because we might. It's just very unlikely, and I can't see any scenario where we would. But
I think the only big thing and that I think we might be able to see would be Saberman Stampede. As far as like a Rare revealed kind of video.
I don't even know if we could see like Dinosaur Planet, because so much of that became Star Fox Adventures that it just might be the IP of Nintendo at this point.
Yeah, I would say probably not Dinosaur Planet, because it is essentially the same game. But it turned in its released form, it was clearly a Nintendo IP, whereas it's a little more nebulous with Donkey Kong Racing moving on to Saberman Stampede, because they were even going to release Saberman Stampede, so that one should be safe territory. But
also like Wild Cartoon Kingdom, I would be interested in seeing. Pre Diddy Kong Racing, the RC Pro Am 64,
I would say both pre and post Diddy Kong Racing, because wasn't there a thing on Scribes years and years ago about one of the Diddy Kong racers there was an idea for a game around them that went nowhere? Am I making that up, or
all I remember about that era of Scribes were people writing in demanding Tip Top get his own game.
Maybe that's where I'm getting confused, but
those were the golden years.
Yeah. Definitely everything surrounding Diddy Kong Racing would be cool to see, but yeah, again, it's shackled to Nintendo, so there's no way.
Nintendo ruins everything.
Don't say that.
No, they're just not fun, man. They're not. It's like they're the stodgy suit that spoils all the fun. Rare's having fun.
As a corporate entity, I would say that's true.
Playtonic's having fun. Rare and Playtonic, they're having fun. Nintendo is not having fun. And they're just being sticks in the mud about everything.
Can't have fun when you're playing video games. That was my impression of Matt's impression of a grizzled seaman.
I was gonna say, since when are Nintendo employees lighthouse keepers?
All right, so we have 2 calls left. What are the odds the next one's Mamechi?
50-50.
All right. Yeah, that's probably right.
Hey guys, this is Banjo Mac from the forums.
Oh, thank God.
This call is regarding the DKU universe, I guess, relating to Yooka-Laylee, and any upcoming information that you guys might have regarding that. I guess, have there been any hints that have been dropped that this is going to correlate to the DKU? I'd love to see where it's sitting in there. Love to hear what you guys think. All right, thanks.
Well, thank you for the call, Banjo Mac.
Thank you for the call. Well, I think we've stopped harping on the Royston thing just because the DK rapper makes it DKU.
Yeah, and unless
now, granted, unless it's dramatically altered in the final form in a way that we cannot reconcile.
Yeah,
but from what we understand, as of this moment, the DK rapper, one of the DK rappers, an actual character in the physical Donkey Kong universe, will be appearing in Yooka-Laylee to do the a new rap. So
Yeah, the one is voiced by Chris Sutherland, as opposed to George Andreas, who I think last I heard he was working at Sony. I think.
That will be the PlayStation exclusive version of the rap, where George Andreas will be the PlayStation exclusive character. George Andreas is DK Rapper.
Yeah.
That would be great if they did offer, like we've said before, wouldn't that be awesome if Donkey and Diddy or Diddy and Dixie were playable in the Nintendo version, Banjo-Kazooie appeared in the Xbox version, and we were like, well, who would be in the Sony version? And there you go. George Andreas is DK.
Yeah, either K-Rap or K-Reap. I still stand by those names. I know you're not fond of them.
I'm not fond of a lot of things.
Like Ptolemy Von Ghoul?
No, I'm fine with Ptolemy Von Ghoul.
You're not.
The whole Spectre backstory grafted on it.
All right. Yeah. The real answer to your question, Banjo Mac, is that Playtonic has been really tight-lipped about Yooka-Laylee in the last part of 2015. So
although
we're
Kat
hoping
Bayless
that we
has
actually
officially joined
will
the
find
staff.
out more.
Kat
Yeah,
Bayless
that's
has
true.
joined the staff, so yeah.
Yeah, even though that's really more of a formality because he was already working on the game.
Right. So anyway, yeah, I'm still hoping there's a goldfish in there, but it's not a deal breaker anymore. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the DKU prospects for Yooka-Laylee. I mean, I'm going to play it. I'm hopefully going to enjoy it. I just hope that it does its own thing. Yeah. We'll have more to say about Yooka-Laylee when we know more, I'm sure. All right, last call.
I hope it's Mamechi.
There's only one way to find out.
All right, mate. Sorry for my last call. I know that I forgot the question I was going to ask, and I asked something different anyway. But I just remember the question right now. Okay. So,
it wasn't Donkey Konga 3.
Without any further ado, I was browsing the forum and the thread right now about Donkey Kong and Wario characters in the cameo games and stuff. And I'm just curious. Could you guys talk about the Wario universe? Because,
okay.
I know you guys are hugely into the Donkey Kong universe and stuff because, that's what you guys like. But give them the Wario universe is also very much like a DKU because, here's how, how it starts, right? Wario Land, which is Super Mario Land 3 came out. And then after that, the Wario Land games, just, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's like DKC games, except they got one more. But, then there's Wario World, which is like there are DK64. And then WarioWare, which is, our spin-off. It's like a Diddy Kong Racing, actually, because WarioWare, spun off into Rhythm Heaven, which is our banjo, basically. And it's more popular than the rest of the Wario universe, ironically enough. So again, I'm just curious what you guys think about the Wario kind of side of things. And just so I don't seem... And this still doesn't seem like I'm forcing this stuff down. I also want to know what you guys think about... I also want to know what you guys think about the Wario universe crossing over with the Donkey Kong universe. Like, Wario versus Donkey Kong or something like that. Alright, love you guys, and I'll see you guys. Bye!
What a way to end the show. Thank you, Mamechi, as always. I know we give you a hard time, but we do appreciate your calls.
We love you.
Yeah.
I like Wario. Wario. I mean...
I think that of the Mario cast, and I don't really consider Donkey Kong a part of that, despite many of the cameo developers' insistences, I think Wario is probably my favorite character because he seems to actually have motivation.
He's got personality beyond,
right.
or Yoshi or Toad.
It reminds me of the way I know, Hyle, you'll get this, but maybe not our listeners. In the Plinkett review for Star Wars Episode 3, he mentions how much he loves the Emperor because he just loves being bad so much. He actually has some motivation, even if it's just to be bad.
He's just pure evil, and at least that radiates off the screen. Yeah,
exactly. I kind of feel that way about Wario.
Yeah.
Whereas with Bowser, it's just kind of a lazy, reheated thing.
People are going to argue Wario is not evil; he's just slightly greedy and whatever. But he's interesting. He's got depth. He's
I mean, what is the root of all evil, Hyle?
True. Illegal immigration.
That's right. Trump 2016.
So. Yeah, I like Wario before Diddy Kong started to be put in Mario games, or Mario, like the cameo games, and then I guess after he stopped being put in them, Wario is always who I select as Donkey's partner when he needs a partner. So I like him. I guess, I mean, technically that counts as a crossover, right? I mean, honestly, like, besides playing Wario Land Virtual Boy, or Virtual Boy Wario Land, sorry. I haven't really delved too much into the Wario games. WarioWare is something I never got into personally.
Oh, have you ever played one?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, they're really fun. I know that the series has a
too ADD for me. I need a little bit more focus.
I think that the Wario series would make fantastic mobile games.
Absolutely.
And essentially the format has been ripped off by the Dumb Ways to Die company. They have this huge app empire that it's not Angry Birds huge. They're not making feature films based off the Dumb Ways to Die characters, but they do have an enormous mobile presence. And their game is basically WarioWare.
Yeah.
So I think that if Nintendo really wants to branch out into that market, they've got a perfect candidate.
Yeah.
As for Donkey Kong and Wario crossing over, you remember when Greg Mayles was tweeting some of those early Donkey Kong Country concepts, and one of them was a book we never got looked into, but that was never opened. It was like a leather-bound book with a gold embossed title. I think it was Wario versus Donkey Kong, something like that, or was it Wario and
Donkey Kong versus Super Wario, or something like that?
Yeah, something bizarre and like a 1993 idea.
Which is really close to the introduction of the character of Wario. So it's interesting that Rare even saw something in the character, and as Rare fans, we have a lot of the same mindset as those guys, I'm sure. So it's interesting that they saw that guy and was like, no, that's an interesting character. I want to do something with him. So we almost didn't have Donkey Kong Country at all. It almost these two series that are always linked to Mario but are also uniquely separate, Donkey Kong and Wario, from the outset were almost tied to the basically, waist. They almost were inseparable. Luckily we got Donkey Kong Country and Wario went in its own direction, but yeah, I mean, it's funny how there's always been that link, even that unknowing link,
Yeah, the Donkey Kong universe would have looked a lot different if that had been the concept for DKC.
Honestly, we wouldn't be here. I'm sure we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, probably not. Well, I mean, considering you and I met on a Banjo-Kazooie message board in 1999, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Donkey Kong Country appealed to me in every aspect, and I don't know if Donkey Kong versus Super Wario or whatever would have.
Yeah. Well, so that's it for the call sack. It's empty, and I feel very relaxed at the moment.
I feel like I need to, go to sleep, honestly.
Yeah. Are you in that post-Kongversation refractory period?
I am. I'm just gonna go sleep. I'm gonna dream about what was it? Tulula Von Ghoul? What was it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to dream about the Nintendo 5S that I can't wait to see in June.
But I am not going to dream about Dream because that would just be silly.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.